you very much. So joining me now, Shelby Steele, Senior Fellow at the Hoover Institution and writer and producer of the documentary, What Killed Michael Brown. We've spoken with him about that documentary and about racial issues a lot over the recent years. Shelby, thank you so much for being here tonight. You know, when you listen to Alex's report and you hear about all of those companies canceling the president in many ways, what goes through your mind tonight?
That cancellation has become an exercise of moral power. It is if someone disagrees and they have a different politics. This is not something you engage in argument. It's something that you are so morally above that you obliterate. You just eliminate it, and you don't have to argue. You can get credit for all sorts of virtuous sentiments when all you've done really is run away from an issue. And so it's a sad thing to see. It cuts off, it undermines our democracy, which is based on debate and cross-examination and so forth, and evidence. My film, the one you mentioned, What Killed Michael Brown, was canceled by Amazon. We got a very nasty letter, one that wasn't just official, but that was actually, there was a tone of moral outrage that they were going to not accept our film because it was somehow immoral. It was, of course, there was no such thing. It was perfectly reasonable. No nudity, no excessive bad language, nothing like that. It was they did not like the message, which part had to do with the film, that Black America the protest was fading away as a viable means of advancement, and that whether one agrees with that or one doesn't agree with that, it ought to be something that Americans consider, think about for a moment. But Amazon felt that they were somehow so morally superior to that option, that option of that they were so wonderful. In other words, they could simply cancel it and move on and thereby do a good service to American life. So in that sense, evil is dressed up as good. And in cancellation, that seems to me to be the formula.
Yeah, I think that all of these companies set such a dangerous precedent when they began doing these things, when they started making political judgments and boycotting different things based on, sort of a moral decision, as you point out. So now they find themselves, where they have to respond to everything. And they put themselves in a box. They're going to alienate, obviously, a lot of their customers. We put, the very big names up on the screen, Ford, Dow, and the like. Let's put this up on the screen. This is an interesting comparison of the donations to the Trump campaign and to the Biden campaign by Alphabet, which is Google and Microsoft, Amazon, Apple, and Facebook. You can see the tremendous disparity. Google, $4.3 million to the Biden campaign, $106,000 to Trump, Microsoft, $2.3 million, and you can see the Trump comparison at $247,000. So it's obviously a striking difference. Not surprising, really, in that point. But it's. I want to ask you about sort of, because we've talked a lot about the changing look from some African Americans at sort of which party actually does really deserve their vote and has done the most to help these communities over time. And I know that you felt that President Trump had done a lot of good things for the Black community. So where does that energy go now?
Well, I think I would not say that Donald Trump was the most sophisticated American when it comes to the complex issue of race. What I will say, though, is that he made room for made space for us to look at this complex issue from another angle. We had been in a paradigm for 60 years now, since the 60s, of racial protest, and then, of course, always following protest, inevitably, dependency. the people we're protesting, we're asking them to lift us up and take us forward. Donald Trump made space for another point of view, which is that dependency and protest are obsolete. They've taken Black America as far as they can take us. That now we have to look at a model, a paradigm that is based more on individual responsibility, on self-help, moving ourselves forward, not looking outside of ourselves as individuals, but taking responsibility for that. Well, that of course challenges the very foundation politically of the left in America. And so again, not meaning to repeat myself, but going back to Amazon, that's a message they did not want heard.
No, it's clear, and you make great points, Shelby. Before I let you go, I just want to ask you the tail end of my question again. You know, where does that go from here? If there was growth in that belief and a way that some African American voters were looking differently at which party could do something, you know, to allow them to succeed on their own, where does that energy go now, do you think?
Oh, it's one of the things I like most about the Trump era, let's say. There is beginning to be, certainly in Black America, a counterpoint to 60 years of rather tired and exhausted liberalism.
Yep.
There are young people seriously considering other ideas now, looking beyond the gestures of protest and toward the idea of responsibility as an energy, a transformative energy, and that's a wonderful thing. And I'm sad to see Trump depart, because I think he was the right guy to sort of make space for that new point of view to emerge. But it will emerge, and at this point, that job is done. It will emerge and will, I think, become more and more a part of our politics,
Shelby
our way
Steele,
of life.
thank you very much, sir. Always good to have you here. Thanks for being here. So still ahead tonight, thank you, sir. Still ahead tonight, how Trump voters who spoke to us throughout the campaign are feeling about where they are with everything now.